Hello, my name is Oluwatofumi Onaiko, but you can call me Toff, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be getting back to my roots a little bit. I'm going to be talking about the MSc Computer Science conversion course that I'm currently on at Newcastle University. I'll say that 3 times fast. Because there's not a lot of information on the internet about conversion courses, I really just wanted to share more and see if I could answer people's questions. And to do that, I really wanted to provide a diversity of views. So in this video, I got 2 really lovely friends from my course, Jess and George, to provide answers to some questions I feel are quite common, and answers to questions that I really wanted to know when I was looking at applying for this conversion course. So to give you a bit of background and context to the video itself, this is actually the second time I'd filmed the video, as technical difficulties the first time, and technical difficulties filming this intro, which is why everything's dark. So we refer to that a few times throughout the video, so don't be a bit confused when we mentioned, the last time we filmed. And then to give a bit of a background to the actual participants, Jess is a part-time computer science conversion course student. So she actually has a full-time job as a freelance journalist, and she goes into this in a bit more detail in the video. And George is an American student who did his undergrad in America and is now here on a scholarship playing volleyball and is doing the course full-time. So at least this way you get a few different perspectives of a part-time and a full-time course taker and an international perspective. So I hope this video can really help, and instead of me talking, let's get into it. So I'll start with the same first question. It was, what did you originally study and where? So I'll go first. I originally studied architecture at Newcastle University 5 years ago. And then George.
I studied mathematics with a CIS minor from a small school in Illinois called Greenville, and that finished last year.
And then Jeff.
I studied journalism in Leeds, and I did that a year ago, so I've been working for the meantime before I started this master's.
Yeah. I think that leads quite nicely into the second question, which was, has everyone worked before? Was it computer science related work, or was it just like odd jobs or stuff related to your first bachelor's, sorry?
So I did, I've done for about a year or so a job relating to my bachelor's, but I did find that a lot of job applications are asking for coding. So that was one of the main reasons I've done this course, to kind of expand my skill set, and hopefully maybe get a better job.
Yeah, better pay.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I've been basically a student the whole time, so other than being a mathematics teacher's assistant for my time, that's all I've really done.
Oh. Was
no
that
real
uni?
work, I guess. I'm sorry?
Was that at uni?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool, okay.
Yeah.
And then for me, I worked a number of different roles. I worked as an architectural assistant, because you can't legally call yourself an architect until after 7 years. And then I swapped to being a business analyst, working for a retail company, working with developers. And then I wanted to become more technical, like use SQL, be able to understand what developers were talking about, which is why I joined this course.
Yeah, I did look around at other universities as well, but I just couldn't afford to leave home, I don't think, even with the being £9,000. But also I was I've got a job here, so that kind of makes me like stick to the area.
True.
Yeah. What about you, George?
Yeah, so I did, I guess, shopping around in the US. But like I said, last time we talked, it's 2 years for a master's in the US. So it was roughly the same price for 1 year in both cases. So if I stayed back here, it would have been double the cost generally. So it ended up actually being a pretty good deal for me to do it in Newcastle instead of back in the United States.
That is good. But then also in the US, is Newcastle well recognized? Do people really know it?
I did not. Yeah, I had no idea about even like what a red brick school was or anything like that. But kind of talking around with people, I knew a couple people that were in a similar situation where they got a scholarship, and they said, it's going to be recognized here. Like they might not necessarily know right away, but with any kind of research, they're going to
Yeah,
understand that it's a very good school.
it's true. Like before doing this meeting, I researched some stuff about Newcastle University, and they're top 10 or top 20 for so many of their courses. Like it's such
Right.
a university.
Yeah, that really stuck
Mhm.
out because it was even like its world ranking. I don't remember exactly
Yeah.
what the schools I was looking at here were like in the 750 to 500 range, whereas Newcastle I think is like in the top 200 or something like that. So even that's like such a huge gap in comparison.
Exactly. Why did you guys pick this course, like a computer science conversion course, and not anything else?
Do you want to go first?
Okay.
Oh yeah. So I liked my undergrad degree in math a lot. It was just extremely difficult.
Mm.
I thought math was very hard, and when I started coding my junior year, I just fell in love with it right away. And that is exactly what I wanted to do. Um, Still looking at with this my CS minor, I did feel like I had enough to at least be on par with a lot of masters. It would have been a lot of catching up, I think. Still, so this was kind of perfect. Maybe I was a little ahead of the curve, but by a little bit, I mean like just enough to do fine on my first course, and the rest has still been I've been learning quite a lot. So that's why I went with computer science, and then also with a conversion course instead of just straight into a regular master's.
Mm. And then, yeah.
Well, I was looking into just doing like small coding classes, but I just didn't find them as reputable. I don't feel like teaching yourself is the same as having a professional qualification. So that's the main reason why I chose computer science, because I wanted to go down a route where I was being taught by professionals, who are professionals in their field, and they can like support me and mentor me through this degree. So that's the main reason why I chose to do it this way as a conversion. But also because, as I said before, a lot of jobs now are asking for this. They're asking for coding, they're asking for HTML5, they're asking for CSS, JavaScript, even Java. So it is going to really expand the skill sets that I have already and hopefully get a better job from it.
Yeah. Actually, that's so true because I didn't look into many coding boot camps, but there's a lot that are just as expensive for less time. Like I know there's one in London. I can't remember the name. I will pop it on the screen. But it's like £9,000 for 3 months of teaching, and yeah, and they only teach you Java and HTML, I think, and CSS. So it's like you're not getting as much.
Mm.
And I think it was like 12-hour days for 3 months, 6 days a week. Yeah, really intensive.
So you couldn't really do much else then.
Exactly. And then I think follow up to that, why would you guys go for a master's rather than necessarily like teaching yourself, or would you recommend people teach themselves, maybe if they've got a job already, or would you just suggest maybe going part-time on this course more so?
From my experience, I'd definitely say just go part-time, because honestly, teaching yourself can be quite difficult because you can't always learn that well from like YouTube videos or just, a book or something. I think you really need that sort of industry knowledge that, the lecturers have been in this industry and they know sort of the sort of practices of the industry as well. So I think that's important context as well, not just learning it, but learning about the industry as well.
Mm.
And also like doing it part-time means that you can just do it at your own pace and you can work at the same time. So it doesn't mean you're falling out of pocket. So that's why I'd definitely rep the part-time.
Yeah, I'd say I mean, I know people that have like gotten jobs in coding from just teaching themselves, but from at least from my personal point of view, I've gathered that self-motivation lasts about 2 weeks max.
Yeah.
So having that, just like deadline of you got to get this in, you're going to get a grade on it, like so much more motivating and kind of keeps you going the whole time. And just, at least in my personal opinion, a master's degree is going to be more respected when you bring that into an interview right away than just saying, I've taught myself this. So even that just kind of makes a big difference. But
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
I don't see anything wrong
agree.
with doing it. You got to be really motivated and be willing to stick to it every day. So
Yeah.
I also feel like just doing a master's, you have to be motivated as well. So,
right,
but it's a different sort of motivated. You have the money element of it. You are putting your time and your money into it,
exactly.
and also you kind of meet loads of nice people along the way as well, which I think is just worth it anyway. Than doing it by yourself, because you can't ask questions when you're sort of by yourself. You can, whereas if you're in a course with everyone's in the same boat, they're all asking each other questions on, oh, how do you do this, or you always have help around you, which is also good as well.
Yeah. I completely agree with all the points that you guys have made. And then I think the other thing is like you kind of got built-in projects. So a lot of the things they suggest, if you want to be a developer to get a job, is to showcase that you can code by using projects, to be like, I've built this from scratch. Whereas with the master's course, like each module essentially gives you a mini project to showcase your coding skills. I think that's good. And also the marking isn't there to like sell you to a company. Like they've done the course and you pass or you fail. Like they want us to get jobs, obviously, because our lecturers are lovely and it's a good university. But that's not the aim of it. The aim of them, they just want to teach us the best that they can. And that's why I think the master's is better.
I also think that sorry to put in, but you get more contacts through university, that you get contacts within the industry. So you're meeting people who you could potentially work for in the future. So I think that is very important as well, because when you're working at home and you're learning by yourself, you're not going to get that sort of enrichment, extracurricular enrichment through, just sitting at home.
Yeah, that's so true. I think I've heard of 5 new companies through this course.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Scott Logic and Ignite
Right?
and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did a hackathon with them actually as well for part of the Computer Society at Newcastle University, and that was really fun as well.
And then on the course so far, is it what you expected?
No, not even saying that in a negative way. It's just even the way classes are structured, 3 weeks each. I'm used to having an entire semester, which I like the 3 weeks each more. Really get to focus on one thing and improve on that. The break has been a lot longer, which I can't complain about, I guess. Yeah, I've enjoyed it quite a bit. It's just not at all what I was expecting in terms of structure, I guess.
So in terms of structure from your previous degree, was it you'd learn everything at the same time and then do exams at the end of the semester?
Right. Yeah. So we'd have a couple tests throughout, and then we'd have our final at the very end. So it'd be with everything. So it's nice having it, more spaced out, because that's when you, I think, age the most in undergrad, is during your finals week, just with all the tests going on.
3 years and 3 weeks.
I'm sorry?
I said 3 years and 3 weeks in terms of
Yeah. I also think that it's more consistent. So you naturally when you're working all the time. You're not just working at the end of a year or, the end of a month. I do think having that consistency is good, because it kind of trains you for, the real life world where you have to work, all of the time, not just at the end of the semester. Because I remember my bachelor's, and that's sometimes a lot of the things I would do, I would leave to the last minute. But
yeah.
but this is definitely just more, real life.
You know, I actually didn't even think of it from that perspective. I think that's so true. Like a developer, you're working on projects, they're like sprints or like a few months and then you're on to a different project.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't realize that homework doesn't count for any grades here, because in the United States, it was worth like 80% of your grade and the final was worth 20%. So
What do you mean? Sorry.
So like, you know how they would give out some, like this is more with Jordan, he gave out a couple
Oh, yeah.
practicals to do. So in the United States, you know, that would be like worth a lot of it. Like over half your grade is doing the practicals. And then the final would be 30% or something like that.
I think we're similar to you. I think just COVID has kind of messed it up a little bit.
Oh, okay. Because I was very confused by that. But I like it a lot more. Like you guys were saying, it's more real world. I mean, you're not getting like homework assignments. You're getting, you know, a project that's going to take.
Yeah.
You got to work continuously on.
That's so true.
That's true.
Well, no.
I also really liked the practicals because it kind of made us like continuously work throughout that module. And I like being continuous and consistent because otherwise I'm going to forget it all at the end. You know, it's just nice to work through it, you know, so I can understand it.
Though I love Jordan's practicals because you could like attempt it and then you get a solution to compare your working to. Whereas with Marta's, as much as I really actually liked the idea of the sort of test piece of work, what was it, the formative coursework, I found it difficult because I emailed her to be like, oh, do you have something we can compare this to? And she was like, no, this is just for you to try and see if you can complete it, which I thought was a shame.
Yeah, I think, oh, sorry. I think she said like, oh, there's more than one solution, so I can't give you one. And I was like, well, you could.
Exactly.
You could give me one.
If there's more than one, you could give us more than one. But
like, there's more than one.
I mean, because I do get the point she's trying to make, but it's also like we don't know best practice yet. So it'd be nice to compare and see, like, yeah, can I tweak things? Can I be better? But I get that she's trying to just make us learn.
Yeah.
So, next question. Job prospects. So how do you feel now that we're like 3-4 months into the course? How do you feel about applying for jobs? Do you feel like more qualified? What kind of jobs are you looking for? When will you be looking? Lots of questions. So we'll just take the first one as, do you feel qualified?
I feel more qualified for sure. Looking at jobs before going to this course, I was like, I can't. I know what C++ is. Like, I know what that means. The other stuff, I have no idea. So at least to be able to say, like, I've done that. I've done a project on that is a little more uplifting, I guess, when looking at the material. So I do feel a lot better about it.
Yeah. Sorry if you mentioned this before, but you did C++ in your undergrad and not Java or Python or anything?
So I did a course on C++, and then I did R, and MATLAB were the 3 biggest languages I used.
Oh, cool. Okay, because R and MATLAB are more statistical, aren't they? Which makes sense. And then Jess.
I think it's too soon to tell, really, because obviously I'm doing it part-time, so I've only done 3 modules so far. But even those 3 modules have really helped me, and actually I'm really surprised I've done so well on them, even though it was quite challenging at first. But I would definitely say it so far, yeah, I think I'm probably more professionally developed, because I just think even learning Java, you can put that on your CV and just say, I'm in the process of doing this, and then and you might get more jobs out of it. Also, I have applied to a placement year. So cross my fingers that I might get that. I'm not sure I don't know if it would work with a master's course though, because it's usually for a bachelor's course that you do a placement sandwich year. But I kind of wanted to get some experience within the field before I went out into like the job market, because I don't have any experience within computer science yet. So I wanted to find a way to gain that experience, because, you know, some people are like, oh, you need experience to get experience.
Yeah.
which is just so frustrating. But I think that's one of the things that I'm going to try and do to become more employable.
I think that's a really good idea. Just want to see, like, because I've been applying for some graduate schemes. Most of them are more like technology consulting, which fits my background and the course. But some of them have been like graduate software engineering roles. And for like most of those, I've been rejected. Whereas the like consulting ones have been more like, oh, well, you've got the experience, so we like you, maybe come from an interview, that kind of stuff. So I think when we're going for like software engineering roles and like have a background like mine, which isn't like more technical, so it's not engineering, it's not maths, it's like something considered slightly more artsy, it could be more difficult. So I would say just with people that are going for software engineering and maybe have more artsy background like mine, we might have to do a bit more to be able to get those actual software development roles. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think even just getting a summer internship would be beneficial. Or because I know the problem with grad schemes is you have to apply to them in like January, February.
Yeah.
So you don't actually have that much experience within computer science, half of this course. I don't think you would really have enough experience to say, oh, well, I'm going to be doing this. But, you know, you have like, it's a bit harder because other people might have been doing like a 3-year bachelor's and going for the same position. And that competition's just a bit difficult, really.
Yeah, especially as so many computer science students that I know did like a 4-year sandwich course.
Yeah.
Perfectly qualified.
Like,
yeah. I guess my last question would be, so far, would you recommend the course? I feel like I know the answer, but yeah, good.
How did I say this last time? I've enjoying it and I would recommend it, but I haven't finished it, so I can't have a complete conclusion yet. There has not been anything that would make me say, no, do not consider this course at all, though. So I've enjoyed it quite a bit. Just, I don't feel like I can confidently give an answer completely yet.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I haven't done enough of the course to really gauge like an opinion on it as such. It's so far so good, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, I guess we're all in the same boat. Yeah, the course is going really well, but I think the aim for most people is to get a job. I think that really will decide whether my decision is like a yes or a no. If I can do just 1 year and get a job. If it takes me like 6 months afterwards to get a job, I'd probably still recommend it, but it's not quite the same as like going straight into a job just because it is so expensive. Yeah, people, if they've got like an engineering, maths background and you've got the ambition, maybe see if you can teach yourself. Sorry, I said last question, but one more question. What would you recommend people do before starting the course if they've applied and they're going to go already?
Just, even though it's a conversion course, make sure you have some programming experience. Like literally, by that I mean find a free online course on Java and maybe go through it. Because 2 reasons for that. One, if you've never done programming before, how do you really know this is kind of the area you want to get into? And 2, they do basically start from zero, but they might spend less than 2 minutes on one subject. And that's really not enough time for you to retain the information. But if it's your second time going over it, then you'll kind of have, you'll remember before, and then you'll be able to move on quite quickly. So don't have the expectation that you can come here just point blank. Theoretically, you can, but I think it'd be extremely difficult.
Yeah.
I completely agree with you, George. I did some Java like a few months, maybe 3 months before I came to the university. Just when I was applying, I was looking at coding as well because I was like, do I enjoy this? Will I enjoy this? And also just to get a head start, because I actually thought loads of other people would have so much experience and it'd just be me with my arts, degree and bachelor's, and like, oh, everyone else is doing sciences, they're going to be like way ahead of me. So I kind of was challenging myself in some ways because I wanted to make sure that I was ready for the course as well. But I do understand like it's not really from zero, because I do think they kind of go really fast through it all, so you kind of have to be prepared for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Again, I completely agree with you both, but I would also say to people that haven't experienced coding before, and I think this is just basically building on both of your points, but really make sure it's actually what you want to do, because having worked with developers, it seems like a very stressful job if you don't enjoy it. Whereas if you do, it's like more of a day-to-day, it's just more manageable. So I would say, and you don't want to waste the money if you actually get into the job and you don't enjoy it. So I would just say like, try and pressure yourself to do some kind of project. Try banging your head against the wall for an hour and see if it's fine. But just be prepared for having to find avenues to like get around a problem and search for problems yourself and solutions for stuff yourself. Get used to being frustrated. I think that's what I'm trying to say. But knowing that it's like you can work through it.
I think the best thing someone said to me was when you code, sometimes it just works and you don't know why it works. But it's so right. It is basically that the whole time you're coding, you're like, this works. I'm not going to question it.
Honestly, that's me with the first coursework. I was like, it's done. Got
it works.
and that's fine. I don't need any more.
Yeah. Also, another question, like, what do you think of like the facilities of the university?
Ooh. So again.
Oh, sorry, I was just asking the question to you. I don't know if you.
Oh, so I graduated in 2015, and the USB didn't exist then. So coming back, seeing how like state of the art and how new everything is. I think it opened in 2016. You can tell they've really invested a lot into everything in the building. So much so that because my account is so old, they had to like delete it and start again because it didn't work with how everything had been upgraded. So you can tell they've put effort into it.
Yeah. From the 2 minutes that I've seen of it and then all the YouTube videos, it looks amazing. But I'm stuck here at home in the US, so I can't really experience too much.
Yeah. I liked it when I only been in once, but it's really nice. It's very modern. There's loads of places to study. They really have invested quite a lot into it actually, because I never really noticed it before, because you always think of Newcastle University as like the like traditional buildings. You don't ever really look at like the new buildings really. So I was like, when I walked in, I was like, whoa, this is not kind of what I was expecting.
Yeah. The whole like business building and like the rest, like the Douglas building and all the rest of them, they just look so different as well. They just feel a completely different vibe to the older Newcastle buildings, which are very much red brick, like Russell Group, like history.
Russell Group University. Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for joining me today and like reviewing the Newcastle conversion course.
We should do this like at the end of the course to compare like what we were taught.
Yes.
I'd be like, brain and just like, we're so tired.
Grey hair.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, definitely, because I'm going to do 3-month updates, but that could be too many. So maybe at the end of the course. It depends.
Trends. I'm happy to whenever.
Yay.
Also, you should do like a little vlog. I've always said this, a little vlog.
Yeah, and like a day
in the life.
So thank you so much if you stuck all the way through to the end. I really hope this gives you some insight into the course and actually whether you want to do it or not. And I'm pretty sure the consensus from all three of us was, yes, do the course. You learn so much and it's so worth it. So I'm just going to finish on that and have a lovely day and hopefully see you soon.